Before we begin, I want to share a brief content note. This podcast discusses coercive control, emotional abuse, and parental alienation. There are no graphic details, but these topics can be heavy. Please take care of yourself while listening, and feel free to pause or step away at any time. Hi, and welcome back to After the Quiet. Sometimes the hardest part doesn't happen during the relationship. Sometimes it happens after. When the arguments stop, when the rules aren't spoken out loud anymore. But your body doesn't know that. I stayed quiet long after I needed to. Not because anyone told me to, but because silence had become normal. I stopped talking about my day at work. Not because nothing happened, but because anything I shared could be twisted. A story could become an accusation. A decision could become a flaw. I learned that even neutral information could cost me peace. If events were planned at work, I didn't mention them. If I did mention them, I was accused of wanting to go, even when I said I didn't. If I didn't mention them, and he found out later, I was accused of being deceptive, of hiding things, of not being honest. There was no safe version of honesty. Eventually, I didn't just behave this way with him. I behaved this way with everyone. My biggest fear became messing up, being the version of myself he didn't approve of, and somehow having him find out. I lived on high alert. Tone mattered. Timing mattered. Every interaction felt like it needed to be managed. Even when I went away to university, the quiet followed me. If he called my dorm phone and I didn't answer, I felt immediate fear. I could already hear the questions coming. Sometimes I would call back and everything would be fine. Other times, it turned into a long, agonizing conversation. One where I went in circles, trying to explain something that didn't need explaining. For a long time, during the relationship, and even after, I was always apologizing. Always over-explaining. I would leave conversations wondering why I had just justified myself. Why I had felt the need to make my choices acceptable to someone who hadn't questioned them. My body started responding before my mind caught up. At first, it was anxiety, a constant edge. And then, years later, full panic attacks. My body was reacting to danger, even when I couldn't name where it was coming from. I lost my ability to be spontaneous. I couldn't just walk to the student cafe to study with a classmate. I couldn't just take a shower without making sure I was reachable. I couldn't accept invitations for campus activities on weekends. I was expected to come home every weekend. Even when no one said it out loud anymore, my body obeyed. I did grieve who I once was. I loved dance. I was obsessed with a dance show on TV. My dream was to dance on that show someday, or at least go out dancing now that I was finally old enough. But that was a hard no. Committed girls don't go to clubs. People only go to clubs to pick up. I was told I was naive for thinking people went just to dance. It wasn't just about control. It was about joy, desire, movement, parts of me that wanted to exist freely in this world. And still, I pushed forward. I told myself I was lucky to be loved, lucky to have someone who said he wanted the best for us. I convinced myself I just needed to fix myself, that I could learn, that I was smart enough to figure out how to be a mature adult in a relationship. I told myself this is what relationships were about: compromise. What I didn't realize, not until much later, not until a marriage and 3 children later, was that I was the only one compromising. This is what it means when the quiet follows you. It's not peace, it's adaptation. It's your mind and body doing what they learned to do to keep you safe. If you're listening and recognizing this, the silence, the anxiety, the grief for who you used to be, please hear this. You weren't weak. You were surviving. Healthy compromise is mutual. It does not require one person to disappear. And it does not ask you to give up joy to prove commitment. In the next episode, I'll talk about what happens when something inside you begins to push back, when the quiet no longer feels protective and resistance starts to grow. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying with this story. If this episode stirred something, go gently. Your body learned these patterns for a reason. This is After the Quiet. If you need support, please reach out to someone you trust or a local support service. You are not weak for needing help. You are human. And if no one else has told you this today, your voice matters.